still learning, and so we're still going to take strategies we learned from you today.
Excellent.
But we were talking about some of the strategies we did learn, and Lucy shared that you really shared the setting very well in the bear trap story, and she took that to help her improve her writing.
Excellent.
And Amber was able to take examples of how you included the characters talking in your story, and she used that in her writing. So
Fabulous.
thank you for mentoring us.
Well, thank you for having me and for listening to me. That's the whole purpose of me being here, is to hopefully be able to share some of my stories that I wrote down in my own narratives and give you some ideas that you might have from your experience growing up in Vermont that you might want to write down as well. So I've got a story for you today. This is one of my favorites. And I'm inserting a new character that you've not met. His name is Louis Joyle.
Oh!
So this story is, it's about Louis and I muskrat hunting. So I'll just share that with you. Have you ever seen a muskrat? Has anyone ever seen it? Okay, they're pretty interesting animals. Anybody want to share what a muskrat looks like? Yes.
They're long. They have
Yes, they are.
and they have big tails.
They have huge tails. I think the tail is longer than their body, and their tails are like about that thick. So they're pretty interesting looking. And I'll just tell you from my perspective, they're not the most beautiful animal in the world, but some people may really love muskrats, so I don't want to offend anybody who loves muskrats. And they probably look really good to other muskrats as well. So, but this story has to do with Louis and myself muskrat hunting. So I'll set the stage for you. This was, I was about 9 or 10 years old.
So a couple of years
It was in late April, maybe even early May. And it was a beautiful, beautiful day that we went. But the story starts way before that. I remember that I got home on a Friday after school, and I walked in the house, and I saw my mother. She was sitting at the kitchen table, and I had a snack, and I sat down, and I was talking to my mother, and I said, wow, I wonder what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm feeling a little bored. And I said, well, maybe I'll call a friend, or maybe I'll go over to the neighbor's house and play. But I said, I wanted to do something special. And she said, well, you never know. So about a half hour later, I hear the phone ring. And do any of you have those old? We had an old phone that hung on the wall. Looked kind of like that. Yeah. It had the old phone ring. Ring, ring. You can get those on your iPhones now. Have you heard those?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, and it had the circle and the numbers, and you'd go ring, ring while the phone rang. And it had that distinct ring. Ring, ring. My mother answered the phone, and she said, oh, hello. She said, hi, Louie. How are you? Good, good. And then she said, oh, I don't know. I'll ask him. And so she turned to me and she said, how would you like to go muskrat hunting with Louie tomorrow? And I said, I would love it. She said, he can't wait, Louie. He'll be ready in the morning. So I went to bed really early that night. Well, I knew we were going to get up early. It was probably going to be about 5 o'clock. And I needed to have my stuff ready. I needed to be ready to go. So I went to bed very early. I didn't even need an alarm clock. I got up at 4 o'clock the next day, got dressed, ate breakfast. My mother woke up at 3:30, so she was already up. Every day she woke up at 3:30. And so I had my breakfast, and I sat right by the window. We had a window and looked right out into our driveway, so I sat there about 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, I heard something. I knew what that was. That was Louie's truck. I called it the jalopy, because you could hear it coming from a mile away. He was actually our next door neighbor, so as soon as he got into that truck, I could hear him. hear it coming up the driveway. Got louder and louder as it got closer and closer. I don't think it had a muffler. Stop, and the brakes squeaked. Oh, I could hear that from inside too. And then the door to the truck, you could hear that too. And out walks Louie, shuts the door. Out comes Louie, and he always wore this, they call them driving caps, and he had his driving cap on, and Louie walks up to the door, and he was very, very French-Canadian. He was born in Quebec. His first language was French, and he talked with a very, very thick French accent. So he comes in the door, and he looks at me, and he says, "Jean!" He says, "Jean, we are going to hunt a muskrat today. I cannot wait." He said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yes, I'm ready, Louie. I can't wait." So I grabbed all my stuff. Louie looked at my mother. He said, my mother's name's Harriet. He said, "Harriet, we will return with the muskrat." And my mother said, "Well, just be careful, Louie. He's only 9. And he said, "Oh, yes, don't worry. I will take good care of Jean." So we got into the truck. There goes that door again. We got in. Louie starts up the old truck. And then it goes, backfired. We start driving down the road. We're at Old Jalopy. We got to, it's on BB Plain. Has anybody ever heard of Memphremagog? Okay, so that's up in, it's in Newport. Part of it's in Derby. Part of it's in Canada. And we went to this little, it was an inlet. And it was a marshy place where the ice was still frozen, and so you could actually go out and walk on the ice, and that was what our plan was going to be. So we stopped the truck, we got out, we got all our stuff, and we weren't going to use a canoe, which sometimes they hunt muskrats with canoes, but we were going to get out on the ice. And we were going to look for muskrat. So something about muskrats, they live in these little houses or huts. And you may have seen them. They look kind of like this, and they're almost right on top of they're right on top of the ice. And then they have holes in the ice where they dive down and they get food. So our plan was to go out on the ice, try to spot some muskrats, and see if we could bring them home. So that's what we did. It was a beautiful, 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 beautiful day. I remember the sun was shining, and it was warmer than I had anticipated. So as we started walking out on the ice, I noticed that there's like little puddles of water on top of the ice, and I thought that was interesting. So Louie and I, we got out there, and Louie says, "Jean, as you know, I am a great hunter. And I am going to get the muskrat, and you are coming with me, and I may let you hunt the muskrat as well, but you know I am a great shot." And I said, "Yeah, sure, Louie. I have to tell you something. Louie is a terrible shot. He should wear glasses. He doesn't. And I don't think he could hit the broadside of a barn." Anyway, so we started on out there. And Louie, as soon as we got on the ice, he said, "Jean, ferme la bouche." That means be quiet. So we could not talk at all. So we got out there, he goes, "Shh." He said, "From here on out, we use hand signals." He said, "This means stop. This means go. This means look." And he said, "This means shoot." I said, "I understand them." So we got out and we started walking on the ice, very slowly, very, very carefully, looking around, looking around. All of a sudden we see a hut. We see a house with a muskrat. And I look, and there right on top of one of the huts is a little muskrat. He's looking right up like this. Just like that. On his hind legs looking up. He didn't see us. what they like to do, muskrats, and they like to, when it's nice and sunny, they like to hang out on the top of these huts and sun themselves and just take in the beautiful rays of sunshine. Well, I had seen the muskrat, and I was going like this to Louis. He kept walking. And I go, and he turns around. Louis. Louis pointed to himself and goes, so, Louis looked at me and he started talking to Jean. I was right now, be very, very quiet. Do not move! I need my full concentration to get the muskrat. So he picks up, takes very careful aim. He looks back at me, and I wasn't saying a thing, and he looks back at me. What's he? Takes careful aim. Takes a shot. The muskrat gets up on his hind legs again, and then dives right into the hole. Louis says, Jean, I think I have shot the muskrat. You know I am a mighty hunter. I'm one of the greatest hunters that has ever walked. And I said, well, Louis, I don't know about that, but, you know, he goes, Jean, I am a hunter, and we will go get the muskrat, and I will show you that I am a mighty, mighty hunter. So I followed Louis, and we get closer to the hole and closer to the hole, and I look, and I see something moving in there. And Louis sees it too. He goes, Jean, there it is. There's the muskrat. I got him. And I said, Louis, I don't know if you did or not. I think something's moving around in here. He said, no, Jean, you know I never miss. I told you, he's not a very good shot. I've never seen him hit anything. He said, I never miss, Jean. I'm a mighty, mighty hunter. And so he said, now, Jean, I give you the honor. Stick your hand in that muskrat hole and grab the muskrat. Now, I thought I saw something moving in there, but I wasn't sure. I said, well, maybe he's right. I don't know. But I knew one thing. I was nervous and I was scared. My heart was pumping about... And I was really, really nervous. And I said, I don't know, Louis, I don't want to do this. And Louis says, Jean, if you are going to be a hunter, you must retrieve the prey. So, retrieve the animal, John. You are my assistant. I said, I don't know, Louis, this doesn't sound like a very good idea. He said, Jean, it must be done. So I said, okay, Louis. So I looked in there, and I thought I heard something. And so he said, Jean, you must get on your knees, and you must stick your hand all the way in the hole, and you must grab the muskrat. So I said, oh my goodness. I was really, really, really nervous. I'm shaking like this. And I actually was sweating a little, because it was actually getting hot outside. So I looked down, and I thought I saw something. I thought I saw this brown, blackish sort of object. So I got down. And the hole was right like this. And I looked in there. And I looked in, and I put my hand in, and I said, no, Louis, I can't do it. He said, Jean, you are brave, like me. Come on, Jean. You must do it. He said, I know you can do it, Jean. And I said, Louis, why don't you do it? He goes, you are my assistant. You are my apprentice. You must grab the muskrat. So I looked at him and I said, okay, Louis. I am brave, I can do this. So I got closer to that hole, and I had to really get like this, because it's kind of down there like this, and I slowly, very, very carefully, I put my hand in there, and I saw the tail. And I went to grab the tail, and I put my hand on it, and all of a sudden, that muskrat turned on me, got up on its hind legs, and jumped at me and tried to bite me. I got her out of that hole as fast as I could. And I said, Louis, that thing is alive! And he said, Jean, I must have missed it. I said, yes, you missed it. That muskrat was alive in that hole. It almost bit my finger off. I'm lucky I have my fingers. He said, Jean, that was a very, very close call. I am sorry. He said, now we must continue to hunt. And I said, I'm all done, Louis. I want to go home. I said, that scared me so much, I just want to go home, I want to get in my room, and I want to go to bed. And Louis said, well, Jean, I understand. That was a very scary moment, the muskrat. They have very sharp teeth. And I can understand, I think we should go back also. He goes, I'm a little tired myself. So we started heading back. I was talking to Louis a little bit, and I was feeling a little bit better. I was feeling a little bit more at ease, and we're walking, and it's really getting hot outside. It was really, really hot. And I'm like, wow, this is weird. You know, and it seemed like there was a lot of ice, but the puddles had gotten bigger and bigger as we had been outside longer. So we're walking along, talking, Louis laughing, the sun's beating down, I'm walking along, we're getting closer to the track, and all of a sudden, I stop just for 1 minute. I look down between my legs, and there's a crack in the ice right below me. I froze. I said, Louis, there's a crack in the ice. He said, Joe, a rat. So I said, I am a rat, and I stopped. And he said, don't move, Jean. I said, I'm not moving. He said, Jean, grab my hand very carefully, and I will pull you to my side. And all of a sudden, I hear him go, ah! And I had heard a crack right before that. And he said, Jean, there's a crack right between my legs, too. And I said, I can see that, Louis. And he said, Jean, we must move very, very carefully. Slowly. Slowly, Jean. And I could see he was nervous because Louis cannot swim. Louis never learned to swim. He cannot swim. I could swim, thank goodness. So, I very slowly, I moved my leg and I picked up my 1 foot. A bigger crack is opening beneath my feet. I'm trying to stay on 1 foot. And Louis is saying, Jean, be careful. I said, I'm being as careful as I can, Louis. He said, move slowly, Jean. So very slowly, I took 1 step like this, and the ice broke, cracked all around me. I fell right through the hole in the ice, all the way to the bottom. It was about 8 feet deep. My feet hit the bottom, and I just pushed myself up like this. And I grabbed onto the edge of the ice and said, Louis, help! And Louis looks at me and he says, Jean, I will help you. So he laid down like this. And as he's doing that, the ice is cracking. I hear this. But Louis is staying on top of the ice, so I think I'm going to be saved. Louis grabs out like this with his hand. Can you see me? Like that? Yeah. And I touched his fingertips like this. And I thought I was going to be saved. And all of a sudden I hear this. Louis jumps down. Louis falls through the ice too. It is freezing. You wouldn't believe how cold this water is. I'm like, Louis. And I'm like, in my head I said, Louis cannot swim. What am I going to do? So with 1 hand I grabbed onto the ice. And I could see Louis just barely. And I grabbed out with my arm and he bopped up and he grabbed my hand and I pulled him up as hard as I could like this. And Finally, he got to the top and he grabbed onto the ice. And he said, "Jean, merci beaucoup," which means thank you very much. So, but we weren't out of the woods yet. We're out of the ice yet. Ha ha ha. So, Louis grabbed onto the ice and said, "Jean, we've got to be very careful. We must get out of here. It's very, very cold." And I said, "Yes, Louis, we must do this. I am about to freeze." So Louis, very carefully, he got up and he was able to, he had his gun and he was able to take his gun and put it up on the ice. And he slowly crawled out onto some thicker ice. Then he went back and he did this. On his belly again, he grabbed me and he was able to help me get out of the ice. Okay. So we were on solid ice. We got out of the hole. Louis was safe. I was safe, except for one thing. I was freezing. We made a run for it as fast as we could. Now the truck was right by the road. Okay, we were running the ice the way it runs adjacent to the road. So as we're running on this ice, cars are stopping and pointing at us as we're running. With a truck like this, a couple people stop, beep the horns. Louis does this. Running like this. Somebody stops and says, "Hey, what you doing?" Louis waves. We make it to the truck. We jump in. Louis starts the jalopy. He blasts the heat. I never felt anything so warm in my life. We drove a little way. The heat was pumping through the old jalopy, and Louis didn't say much to me all the way home. He was still in shock from our experience. So he drives up the driveway, stops the truck, backfired again, gets out, gets out of the truck, walks up, and he rolls down his window. I got to the other side of the truck. He goes, "Jean, I cannot go in. Your mother's going to kill me." And I said, "Louis, I'll handle it." Louis took off for home. I walked in, there was my mother. She was at the table, and she's smiling, and I said, "Mom, I'm too tired. I'll tell you about it later." I went up to my room, crawled into bed, had a thick comforter on, and I fell asleep. Got up that night, told my mother what happened, and she looked at me and she said, "That's the last time that you're going to go muskrat hunting on ice." I said, "Yes, it is." Yes, it is. And that was the end of the story.